Hello friends, looking at current affairs for 4th July. The news items picked up from the Hindu newspaper are these 14. We'll look at them in detail. The first one, we can strike anywhere in India. Hizb chief. So this is Hizbul Mujahideen, a terrorist outfit which calls for independence from India of Kashmir. So this Hizbul Mujahideen chief is Syed Salahuddin, and he has presently stated that they have the capabilities to strike anywhere, anytime in India. So this is a claim being made, and you should remember this Hizbul Mujahideen is the same organization to which Commander Burhan Wani belonged, who was killed in an encounter in Kashmir, and since then we are seeing unrest which continues. It's going to be a year now. It was in July 2016 that the encounter took place, and it's been a year since Kashmir unrest is continuing. So this is Hizbul Mujahideen, the organization. Even Syed Salahuddin has been in news earlier because he was designated as global terrorist by US. When Prime Minister Narendra Modi visited US, this was action taken at that time. So he had also been in news. He actually is based in Pakistan occupied Kashmir and has full support from Pakistan. He can move freely throughout the territory. Yes. Then the next news item is deregistered firms to face money laundering probe. So this is again in the context of the same news item in which we heard Prime Minister Narendra Modi speaking that 1 lakh companies have been deregistered with the stroke of a pen in 1 minute. So this has created furor, and now we are seeing further action being taken here. So even the Enforcement Directorate is now being involved, and this Enforcement Directorate, it deals with the Prevention of Money Laundering Act provisions. So you should know about Enforcement Directorate also. You should know about this act also, and we'll discuss that also. So it will probe if the companies which have been deregistered recently, are they involved in money laundering or what. So this will be investigated into by the Enforcement Directorate. So this is an investigation agency for economic offences. So first of all, you should understand what is money laundering too. So we'll look at this detail too. So here it is, money laundering. So money laundering. So actually we do laundry of clothes. So dirty clothes become clean. So money laundering similarly is dirty money becoming clean. Now first of all, what is this dirty money? So dirty money is money which is accumulated through any illegal means. So if there's an organized crime racket going on and money accumulated, like prostitution, drug trafficking, etc., such illegal activities, and money is accumulated through them, so then that money is dirty money. It cannot be shown as such that this is the source of the money. So that is why this money is laundered. So some shell company is established and this money is shown as a profit from that company, and then that money becomes clean. So there are various ways of laundering money. So this is actually what money laundering is. The dirty money is shown as clean money. Right. So this money laundering has to be checked, and that is why India also has an act in place, Prevention of Money Laundering Act of 2002. So this has been enacted by the Parliament and is effective from 2005. And under this act, there is a provision. It has been amended many often too. The latest amendment was in 2012. So it provides for confiscation of property derived from money laundering. So there are these powers given as such too. Also, an entity has been established, FIUIND. So this is Financial Intelligence Unit India. So this is a unit to which all banking companies, even financial institutions and their intermediaries have to provide information in the prescribed form regarding all their clients, the identity of their clients, the records, etc. have to be provided as required to this unit. And this unit functions under the Ministry of Finance directly. So this is there. It was established in 2004, you can see. So this is responsible for receiving, processing, analyzing, and disseminating information of suspect financial transactions. So this is the Financial Intelligence Unit. It's an independent body, as I said, directly reporting to the Economic Intelligence Council headed by the Finance Minister. And then what we were speaking of presently under this news is Enforcement Directorate. So this is an enforcement agency which is for economic intelligence purposes. So this is an economic intelligence agency and enforces economic laws to fight economic crimes in the country. So it is part of Ministry of Finance only under Department of Revenue, and its primary objective is to enforce two main acts. One is Foreign Exchange Management Act, and the other one is Prevention of Money Laundering Act of 2002, which we just discussed. So this is there. It has been in place since 1956. That's right. So presently these companies which have been deregistered are under the ED scanner now, Enforcement Directorate scanner. So that is the present news as such. So this is what we were speaking of. So it is going to probe these deregistered companies, and Ministry of Corporate Affairs is also preparing to send show cause notices to 3 lakh more firms, so that their names would also be deregistered by Register of Companies. So this is the latest news coming forth. Of course, they can appeal. Those who are showing show cause notice and have been deregistered, they can file a complaint to National Company Law Tribunal within 3 years from this order of the Register of Companies of deregistering them. So this entire procedure we have already discussed this yesterday, so we will not go through it again. So this is regarding the details of the number of companies in the country which are active, which are dysfunctional, and which have been dissolved as such. Then next news item is Israel backs India's fight on terror. So this is in the context of Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Israel. So the Israel foreign spokesperson is speaking here, and he said that there is no difference between Pakistan-based Lashkar-e-Toiba and Hamas. So Lashkar-e-Toiba LET is the organization based in Pakistan, a terrorist organization which attacks India, and Hamas is again a terrorist organization based in Palestine which attacks Israel. So Israel has stated that we have provided full support to India on fight against terrorism. We are also facing the same problem. So that's what they mean. And another point which is highlighted is there will be strategic partnership agreements which will be signed on these key aspects like agriculture, water, science, technology and space. So a question was asked, why strategic partnership not in defense? So these are non-security issues on which strategic partnership will be formulated. Why not on defense? A full-fledged strategic partnership on defense is not being signed. So the Israeli representative here says that these agriculture, water are also important key aspects, because first and foremost what is required is food security. So this is also a strategic issue. Sustenance in the form of food and water for these billions of people in the country is important, and that is why we are focusing on this presently. This will benefit people on both sides. Maximum benefit would come to people on both sides is a statement coming here. Then the next news item is Mission Maccabea this year in Israel. So this is regarding Maccabea Games. This is also known as Jewish Olympics. So you should know about this because again it is in news. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is going to visit Israel, and these games are also being held presently. So we'll be inaugurating these games also. So that is why in that context this news becomes important. So this Jewish Olympics is said to be the third largest sporting event in the world after Olympic Games and FIFA World Cup. So this has huge participation as such, and it is held every 4 years, like Olympics, every 4 years it is held in Israel. So this Maccabea Games is having Indians representatives also being sent as such too, and only Jews as such from all across are sent to these games. So in India also, where are the Jews? You should know about that. So that is one prominent community here. Bene Israel community in Maharashtra is mentioned, and even in 2013, the last Maccabea Games which were held, Indian cricket team had won the silver medal. So that has been mentioned. And also another prominent term mentioned is Aliyah. So what we see is when we are sending teams here for Maccabea Games, many of them undertake Aliyah. What is this Aliyah here in this context? Means migrating to Israel. So that term used for migration to Israel is Aliyah. So for better opportunities or even for religious reasons, we are seeing Jews from India migrating here, undertaking Aliyah, right? So this is there. And one more important thing is that about the Jewish communities in India. So one, we saw Bene Israeli community which is there. There are other communities also which you should know. So here it is mentioned. And of course in Maccabea Games you should not think that it is only for Jews. So it is open to Jewish athletes from across the world. So of course India is also sending Jewish communities members who are athletes here to this Maccabea Games, but also it is all Israeli athletes can participate regardless of the religion. So even Arab Israelis participate in this game. So it's not just for Jews, it's for the Jewish community, yes, but also for Israelis. So Israeli nationals plus Jewish community from all across the globe participate in this game, right? And Aliyah, as it's saying, migration of the Jewish diaspora to Israel is called Aliyah. And the Jewish community in India, these you should know, these are four major communities mentioned here. One is Bene Israeli community from Maharashtra. Then in Cochin we have these Cochin Jews. Then Baghdadi Jews who have been settled in Kolkata. And the last one, the Lost Tribe, as it is prominently known. This is important. Bene Manash from Manipur. So this is called the Lost Tribe of Israel, of Jews as such. Bene Manash. Then the next news item is Pune NGO wins UN prize for sustainable farming model. So this is regarding Swayam Shiksha Prayog. So this is a Pune based NGO which has won UNDP's Equator Prize. So this is the prize won for designing ecologically sustainable agriculture model to combat adverse impacts of drought. So we see this is in Pune and this works in the Marathwada region in Maharashtra, and we are seeing drought-like conditions here, farmers committing suicide. So in that context, the agriculture model which they have developed, which is mainly targeting empowerment of women as such, is being studied here. So they are having this women-led, climate-resilient, agroecological farming model. So here the restoration of land and soil is emphasized on. So emphasis is on using biofertilizers and pesticides, preservation and exchange of local species, even change in farming patterns by diversifying from a single crop system. So when a single crop is used, then it results in exploitation of the soil and the soil nutrients are lost of that particular group only. So when multiple crops are grown, so then this is taken care of. So farming patterns on these lines are emphasized on, and even efficient water management is important here. So even sprinklers, farm ponds, recharge of bore wells, even tree plantation leading to improved groundwater levels and soil fertility is emphasized on. So this is their model, women-led climate resilient agroecological farming model, which has been appreciated here through this Equator Prize, which has been won by them. So this is there. Also, this is not the first time that this Swayam Shikshan Prayog is winning an international award. Another award which they have won is UN Climate Award in October 2016. So that was for the another project which was here for women entrepreneurs. So they basically are for women empowerment. So they had built this rural distribution network of 1,100 women entrepreneurs, and they facilitated the access to clean energy, water and sanitation products as such. So this had also won this UN Climate Award in October 2016. So this project has also been awarded for them. Then the next news item is Supreme Court allows abortion of ailing fetus. So this comes often in news. So in this case, a woman has been allowed a fetus who had crossed 20 weeks as such. So this is the provision under the Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act of 1971. So this Act of India prohibits abortion of fetus if it crosses 20-week mark. So before 20 weeks abortion is legal, but post 20 weeks abortion is not allowed except in particular cases. And that is done by the Supreme Court, decided by the Supreme Court on a case-to-case basis. So if a registered medical practitioner certifies to the court that continued pregnancy beyond 20 weeks is life-threatening to the mother or the baby, then the court allows medical termination of pregnancy. So this abortion is then allowed. So it is stated that it is possible to detect certain abnormalities in the fetus before 20 weeks, but still there are some abnormalities which can be detected only after that period. So in those cases, presently the Supreme Court adjudicates on them on a case-to-case basis. And this is the map showing the abortion laws across the globe. So you can see majorly in the European countries and even in China, the abortion is legal on request. So if a request is made, it is legal. In India, you can see it is legal for maternal life, health, mental health, even in rape cases and fetal defects. And for other such factors, this abortion is allowed. So and these are the cases in other countries also. You can see there are abortion is illegal in many countries as well. Then the next news item is Supreme Court stays Madras High Court order directing Tamil Nadu government to waive all crop loans. So actually Tamil Nadu government, it had in its manifesto said that they would waive farm loans, and then after coming to power, the farm loan waiver was ordered. This is May 2016 figure, so status. So they had provided for this farm loan waiver for small and marginal farmers. But then the Madras High Court had a petition before it, and that demanded that farm loan waiver should be there for all farmers. So the Madras High Court actually passed this order. It directed the Tamil Nadu government that it should provide this scheme of farm loan waiver to all farmers, including those who have land holdings above 5 acres. So we have already seen about small and marginal farmers too. So small and marginal farmers is up to 5 acres only. Right, so this direction from the Madras High Court is breach of the separation of powers. So there's a separation of powers, legislative, executive, and judiciary. Each one has their domain in which they function. So this is a particular case which Supreme Court is looking into now, and Supreme Court has stayed the Madras High Court order, clearly saying that it is interfering in the domain of economic policy of the government. So it had breached its domain, and that is why Supreme Court has stayed the Madras High Court order. So this had come before the Supreme Court as a special leave petition. So this special leave petition also you should know about. This is very important. It was AIADMK government in Tamil Nadu who had provided for this farm loan waiver and approached the Supreme Court through an SLP calling for a stay on this Madras High Court order. The special leave petition, you will come across this quite often. This is more important. So you should know about this. This is a residual power, extraordinary power of the Supreme Court under Article 136 of the Constitution. So the Supreme Court can only have this special leave petition before this. So it has a right to hear appeals against any judgment or any order in any matter passed by any court tribunal in the territory of the country. Of course, except Armed Forces Tribunal. So this is the special leave petition of the Supreme Court. You will hear about this in many cases, even in cases of interstate water disputes tribunals, when the tribunal specifically says that the judiciary involvement is not allowed. It is the order of the tribunal which is final and binding. Still under special leave petition, we have seen the Supreme Court hearing these cases. So this is the discretionary power of the Supreme Court as such. So you should know about this also. Then next is, in response to Jet Li's remark, China says it is also different now. So this we have been seeing the standoff between India and China escalating here in Sikkim, and the statement which is coming forth now, because China had reminded India of its defeat in the 1962 war, and in response finance minister or even the defense minister is also having the defense portfolio, Mr. Arun Jaitley stated that China should remember that India is different. It is different from what it was in 1962. So this is a statement which is made, and in response to that, now the Chinese person is saying that if India is different from what it was in 1962, you should remember that China is also different now. So this is what they are saying. They are also saying that India is using Bhutan to put forth its own interest, and we have an interest in this region, Donglang region, if you recollect. This is a region which is very close to Siliguri corridor or Chicken's Neck. So we want to safeguard this region, and China is building a road here against which India is protesting here on behalf of Bhutan. Then the next news item is Apex Court stays criminal contempt proceedings against Arundhati Roy. So this is regarding Booker Prize winner Arundhati Roy. We had discussed her recently too. She came out with her second book. The first book was The God of Small Things, and a second book which has been released now after so many years is the book or The Ministry of Utmost Happiness. You should remember that. So this Arundhati Roy, she had published an article recently, and against this a criminal contempt proceeding has been initiated in the Supreme Court against her, that it is criminal contempt of the judiciary, because she had spoken against the life imprisonment sentence to this Delhi University professor G.N. Sai Baba. So he is accused of having Maoist links, and he is a paraplegic. He cannot walk. So his former DU professor, and he had been sentenced to life imprisonment, has been criticized and ridiculed in this article, because of which criminal contempt proceedings have been initiated against her. The CJI gave her an opportunity. He asked her to give an apology as such for her article and end the case against her, but she said no. She refused to accept that offer. So this is the criminal contempt proceeding, but presently the Supreme Court has stayed this criminal contempt proceeding against Arundhati Roy. So Sai Baba, he is 90% disabled, wheelchair bound, and he suffers from a degenerative medical condition and needs constant medical care, and he had been sentenced to life imprisonment. And the charges against him are having links to Maoists. So this is regarding the conviction and the sentences against them, and this is regarding his own statement. So if you want to know and are interested in knowing about it, you can go through it, otherwise it's not important. So this is there. Then next is Supreme Court takes a maiden step towards a paperless court. So the Supreme Court has replaced these huge bulky files with these digital display devices, and they are now going to guide the judges and give them the details about the entire daily roster of cases and the details. So both the judges and the advocates can use these digital display devices now. So this is a step taken by the Supreme Court to turn itself into a paperless court. So this will be a gradual process. The CJI also admits that they are learning the process, and gradually this will be put into effect. Even the high courts, they have been given a login ID. So each high court can upload digitized records in the prescribed format through this login ID, and this digital files can then be accessed by the Supreme Court and the authorities here. So this is a step being taken, digitization of the judiciary. Then the next news item is China-Russia share opposition to US THAAD in South Korea. So Chinese and Russian leaders here have stated that they are both against this THAAD. You should know about THAAD. It has been in news quite often and will be continually in news too. So this is an anti-missile system which will be deployed by USA in South Korea. Thermal high altitude area defense. So this is the THAAD missile. Even it had been earlier in news because President Donald Trump, after being elected, had stated that for THAAD it is South Korea who is going to pay for the bill. So the amount of money which will be put in this THAAD missile, anti-missile system, because this THAAD will be in South Korea. It is a US system, but it will be put anti-missile system deployed in South Korea against North Korea. So the Chinese and Russian authorities are saying that the balance of power in Asia would be disturbed because of this deployment of USA, because it is not just targeting North Korea. They also feel that China and Russia would be threatened. So that is the balance of power, strategic balance which is required to be maintained in a particular region. But US insists that it is only targeting North Korea. So this is one point which is there, and President Donald Trump had stated that this THAAD missile which will be deployed in South Korea is for South Korea, so South Korea should pay the bill for it, and later he had to backtrack and take his words back. So he has done such things. So this is THAAD, terminal high altitude area defense. So it's an anti-missile system. Means what happens is there's this radar. It's a Lockheed Martin venture. So here you can see there's a radar. So if there's any incoming threat, for example, this is for North Korea. So if any North Korean missile is coming in, this radar would be activated, would detect it, and this detected threat as such will be identified and engaged by this launcher which will be initiated. So there will be an interceptor which will be fired from this truck mounted launcher, and this through kinetic energy. So the kinetic energy which is generated here will destroy this missile. So this is the terminal high altitude area defense, THAAD anti-missile system which is proposed to be deployed. Many parts of it have already been brought in here, and many will be brought in. So the Chinese and Russian authorities are asking that all this deployment should stop, which was already installed should be removed. Then next is 22 states abolished checkposts after GST rollout. So this is regarding border checkposts. So these state borders have checkposts in place, and this is required before GST because there are interstate transactions also like octroi charges as such imposed too. So for that, all these states have border checkposts where they scrutinize the material and check. State borders checkposts are no longer required under GST because all these taxes are also being subsumed and everything has been made online. We have discussed about the way bill system to e-way bill system. So that is why now these border checkposts become irrelevant, and that is what is being stated that 22 states have already abolished border checkposts, all of them, and also many states are going to abolish them. So this is highlighted by the finance minister. So this is going to reduce the delay which happens in delivery of goods because trucks line up at borders, and also the huge amount of environmental pollution which takes place as such. So this is there. Then the next news item is close vigil on GST rollout progress. So as the GST has been implemented with effect from 1st July, the finance minister is keeping a close tab and has having regular meetings to ensure that GST is implemented smoothly. Also, he has stated that such meetings would take place on a weekly basis, and that he will make sure that there is no shortage of products and consumer items, and a check on prices will also be kept. So this has been highlighted. All the relevant ministries, departments have been called in for to make sure that there are no inflationary conditions coming up, prices do not go high, and there is no shortage in the market as well, especially for essential items. So this is shown. This is regarding the various taxes, the octroi and entry tax which we were talking of. All the taxes subsumed under GST. So you should know this. And then the next news item is NSC co-location case serious, says SEBI. So this also we have discussed. This is an old case going on. So looking at it just once again, National Stock Exchange. There is a case going on against it called co-location case. So this co-location case basically is that NSC had allowed some brokers to have their servers used. So means the servers of these brokers were placed inside the NSC exchange premises. So because of this, the time quickness with which they would come to know the changes was quite high, and this fraction of a seconds also are important when you are trading online. So that is why they were given undue advantage by allowing their servers to be placed in NSC premises. So this is a co-location case which is going on before the SEBI. And also another matter which is there is that NSC has called for IPO, initial public offering. So this IPO which it had initiated rupees 10,000 crore IPO. So this case is also before the Supreme SEBI. So SEBI is looking into this matter, whether this initial public offering should be allowed or not. So NSC itself is going public that way. So this is a case, co-location case, in the context of which SEBI chief Ajay Tyagi is saying that NSC IPO, they will have to submit this again as such. The public offering has to be made again. The public offering which was made in December has not been approved as yet by SEBI. So this is hanging in fire as it is stated. It has not been tackled as such because of the co-location case, the probe which is going on into this co-location case against NSC. Then another matter on which the SEBI chief has spoken is regarding credit rating agencies. So this says the credit rating agencies, the way they function presently is not satisfactory, because we are seeing that they have delayed rating actions against debt-ridden firms. So their rating is important because depending on that, people would invest in shares of these companies. So these credit rating agencies have to be regulated, and that is why SEBI is going to bring out a discussion paper for new set of norms for these credit rating agencies, right? So this is there. So this is again going to come in news when credit rating agencies would be regulated as such by SEBI. Then next it speaks of is our governance issues. So governance concern which is raised is regarding a woman director on the board of directors in various companies. So it is required that all companies should have at least one woman director. So this is a regulation that all listed firms which are listed on the stock exchange, they have to have at least one woman director on their board. So this is a regulation as such. But this is not there. 20% of public sector enterprises still do not have a single woman director. So this is a point which has been highlighted by SEBI chief Mr. Ajay Tyagi, and he is also talking about independence of directors. So there are independent directors which are required to be appointed, and presently we are seeing that promoters of companies are removing directors based on their whims and fancies. So this also requires governance reforms. And the last thing which he speaks of is regarding PSUs. So with respect to PSUs, there's a demand being made that there should be a minimum, there should be more time given to PSUs, means public sector undertakings, to comply with the minimum public shareholding requirement of SEBI. So the SEBI chief says no, there should not be any difference made between listed public and private companies. So this is something which will not be acceptable, is being stated here. So there needs to be discipline followed by both public and private entities. Public entities cannot be, public sector undertakings cannot be specially treated. So this is there. Then next is the last news item. Tirupati boy launches Kalam satellite. So this is regarding Kalamsat. So this is a satellite which has been developed by a 6-member team from Chennai, Space Kids India. So this Kalamsat has been selected by NASA through a competition, and this satellite has been launched by NASA, and it has already been launched on June 22. It is said to be the world's lightest satellite. It's only 64 grams in weight. It also said to be the world's first 3D printed satellite launched. So this is Kalamsat, and it is only 3.8 centimeter cube satellite. It's very small. It's made of reinforced carbon fiber polymer, and it is carrying with it a temperature and humidity sensor. It has a barometric pressure sensor also, plus a nano gigamiller counter to measure radiation in the outer space. So this is one among the 70 cubes which have been sent by NASA as such presently, and these are others are not satellites. This is the only satellite amongst these 70 cubes, and this other 69 items are actually experimental samples of, say, blood, chewing gum, etc., and they are being sent to study their behavior in space. So this is an experiment by NASA, and this is the Kalamsat. It is named after former President of India, APJ Abdul Kalam. So these are the news items. Thank you.